Hello, I'm Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Here are a few quick divorce tips that we provide our clients. Number 1, don't move out of your house just because your wife tells you to. Remember, that's your house too. And number 2, don't blow through the financial statements that you file with the court. These are key exhibits, and they often make or break your case. And number 3, watch the social networking. Expect your wife's lawyer to do a thorough online search. And incidentally, this is a two-way street. Now, a bonus tip. Partner with your attorney in assembling evidence. You're one of the 2 leading experts on your life and marriage. Your attorney needs your input to achieve your goals. And finally, talk to your attorney before taking action. Good luck. By the way, unless you're in Missouri or Illinois, I'm not licensed in your state, but that's okay. Our attorneys in your state are.
Contact Cordell & Cordell online at cordellcordell.com. Se habla español. Legal services available in English and Spanish.
Cordell & Cordell, Miami, Florida. Lisa Cargas, Florida resident partner. Announcers are not licensed attorneys.
Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep meditative breath. Inhale, so, and exhale, hum. Julia Aquino-Serrano is an author, entrepreneur, speaker, coach, hardworking mom, and breast cancer survivor. She defined CEO. She is the CEO and founder of the She Defined. She is no newcomer to tough choices. For over 25 years, she has spent time on all sides of the business world and has owned a successful consultancy that works with small to medium-sized businesses. Julia's journey from corporate executive to corporate consultant to coach includes her own struggles through breast cancer treatment and shifting into the entrepreneurial world and mindset. She earned her MBA while completing chemotherapy. She coaches women executives and entrepreneurs to lead from within, to create their lives and businesses authentically, to use their innate gifts to replace fear with confidence, and to own the outcomes of their choices, to develop strong teams, company success, and happier lives. Her other companies include Teas for Humanity and All Systems Grow. Julia is also a mom, a wife, has 3 rescues, 2 dogs and a cat, and mentors female entrepreneurs. In addition, her programs are available gratis to organizations who support at-risk women and girls through She Defines Buy One, Give One program. Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Julia. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Colette. It's awesome to be here. I'm very excited.
Julia, my first question is, who is Julia Aquino-Serrano?
Well, I think that's a complex question, right? Because we're complex beings.
Yes.
You said so much about me in the intro, which is true. I'm an entrepreneur, a wife, a daughter, a mom, a world changer. I'm soulful. I love this world we live in. And, I believe that I get to create the life that I'm living. So that's me in a nutshell. I own businesses and I drive change. That's what I do.
So you have done so much, and you're continuing to do so much. And I know with Women in Mind, I love your book, She Strategy. And
thank you.
Yeah, just a fabulous book. And I wanted to ask you, at what point did you realize that you needed to write the book?
Well, I was actually writing my book, She Defined. And in writing it, She Defined was more my story and the choices I made to get me to where I am. And in writing that book, I realized that there's so many books out there that tell us the story and tell us what we can and should do. And what I realize is that with the coaching work I do and with the strategy work I do out in the world, that I could actually take the knowledge that I have and give them a guidebook that's more of a workbook with not only the story, but working through the tools that are necessary to bring you to your path of success. So I kind of pivoted the book to be more focused on not only getting you out of your own way, from my experience and learning, but also once you get out of that way, how you can get to what it is you say you want. So really creating the plan. So in writing the book, I think I recognized that it needed to shift into she strategy to be able to help women do more.
And your book, I noticed, I actually have had time to really sit down and read it and look at it. And I noticed you have 3 distinct sections. Can you explain why?
Oh, sure. So the 3 sections, the first one is starting from where we are. And we need to really get clear on where we stand today. What's the story we tell and how did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
And we need that information because section 2, which is defining where you want to go, we need to understand the gap between the two. So if I start with where I am and I get really, really clear on where I want to go, so what's the vision, what's the dream, really stating it out loud so we can create it, then section 3 is developing your she strategy, how to get from where you are to where you wish to go. That's the piece that gets missed so much when we start talking about our vision and our dreams. And a lot of times we think strategy is this big technical term, and it can be. But the truth is, strategy is really creating goals that support your vision that you've created, and then being able to take that next step, which is taking focused action so that the goal can be realized. And so the 3 distinct sections actually are very intentional in driving your actions and your behavior through the book.
And I noticed, you have some great spaces in your book. This is one of the things that really attracted me to Julia, to your book was you've got places to write down the ideas and sort of express yourself as you're reading the book. How did that come about?
Well, I think that's also a factor of the getting it done mindset for me. So if I'm reading a really, really great book, or even listening to a book on tape, we always stop at the point where they say, okay, well, stop here and write down what your dreams are. Or we're reading and it'll ask us to do something, which means we have to then go to our journal and write down whatever it is they're asking us to write down or think about. And we're so excited in the moment that we want to just get to that next section because we're learning so much.
Right.
So what this book does is actually right there in that space allows you right then to write it down. And in the process of writing it down, you're going to start to gain clarity, and it actually forces you to focus on the learning at hand. And so again, in the writing, when I shifted from it being called She Defined to actually She Strategy, I knew that us taking intentional focused action in the process is what's going to move our reader forward.
And so that actually is such an epiphany, I'm sure, for you, because not many, I'm looking at a lot of self-help books and they never have any space to write down your ideas or sort of have that interaction.
Right. So I wanted this to be a guidebook, not a tell you how to do it book, because how each of us does it is going to be different for us. But if someone can guide you, so in a coaching relationship, the coach doesn't give advice. The coach helps you to find your truth, helps you to find your way through a solution that works for you. A coach doesn't advise. And so the book really is intended to, provide examples, but also to guide you to find your truth, to find what's true and real for you, so you can make conscious decisions on what you're going to do with it.
And we talk about our beliefs and how our beliefs define the world we see and live in. How can we change deeply ingrained beliefs?
I think that's probably all of our biggest questions and our biggest challenge, because our beliefs have become our truth. So we think, well, I'm not shifting a belief, I'm shifting an actual factual truth. And if you really look at it, and I use this example all the time, if 5 of us see the exact same event or accident that's traumatic in some way, we're literally going to have 5 different stories of what we saw. And we're even going to potentially make up the reason we saw it. We're going to create the why of the accident, even though it may not have, we weren't involved in it.
Right.
And that comes from our beliefs and that have become our actual truth. And so when we need to shift a belief, we have to begin to create awareness that it is a belief. When we see the world as beautiful and loving, there is a belief in us that the world is beautiful and loving. When we see the world as painful and tragic, there's a belief in us that the world is painful and tragic. So if I'm in awareness that I have that belief, I can make a choice on how I'm going to shift my mindset about that belief. Mm-hmm. So it's a mindset shift when we shift a belief. So we have to change the way we think.
So
does that answer the question?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I can see that because now I'm seeing how, why it's so important to create this interactive experience for the reader while they're reading your book. This makes total sense. So, there are a lot of questions to ask you about your book, but how important is the planning part for success?
I think that's it, both sides of it are important, right? Mm-hmm. Getting clear on what's holding us back, right, and then taking focused, intentional action. If you look at any company, I'll just, most mm-hmm. of my consulting companies are $50 to $100 million companies. And when I get to them, a lot of times they're either stuck or in chaos. And what that comes from is everyone doing whatever it takes to get the job done versus doing what the job requires or the focus of the strategy to get the job done. Their actions aren't aligned with the strategy of the company. Right. So in this book, what I've said is, look, what is your vision? Great. You have this big, beautiful vision. And we recognize now the fears that are holding us back. And we're going to start working on the mindset to shift out of those fears and shift into possibility. But you're starting from here and you want to go there. How are you going to fill in that gap? That's the focused, intentional action. So when you create a plan, what it does is it helps you every single day, whether you're in chaos or overwhelmed, the sense of overwhelm. All you have to do is go back to your plan and say, oh, these are the things I should be focusing on. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest questions we can ask ourselves when we're doing any task is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to or further away from my goals? And if the answer is further away from, stop. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really get intentional on the behavior and the actions you're taking every day to move you from here to there. The dream is awesome, but without a plan on how to attack it, it's overwhelming.
So you are focusing mainly on women. I know a lot of men who would love to read your book too. So
I know some that have read it.
Yes. Why women? Why only women?
Listen, it's called She Strategy because my focus is on women. I have a big agenda from, the time I was, 10 or 11 years old on the inequality in the world.
Right.
And I remember as a young child recognizing that my sister had to behave differently than my brother-in-law, and that my mom's role was different than the men in the house. And there was very distinct ways that we were treated. And I felt the unfairness of it all. And what I recognize now, after all these years of soul searching and learning and growing and hurting and being and finding happiness and joy, I learned that as women, we have generationally been taught to be in the background, to keep our voices quiet, to not speak up for what we need, to be nice, to be kind, to be all these things, instead of to state what we need and actually go after it. And when we did, we actually were labeled differently. So what I wanted to do was write a book for women from the perspective of even how we think and how we see the world, and maybe even our willingness to be open to our crap that holds us back. And that's not to state that a man couldn't or wouldn't read this, but my purpose and my focus is really on helping women to find and use their authentic voice. Hallelujah, if it impacts the entire world.
Right.
So it's not intended to keep someone out. It's intended to really make a statement for the women who want to change not only their life's trajectory, but the trajectory of those coming behind them.
So, what would be the first thing you would encourage someone to do who's wanting to make some life changes? How would they go about that? I mean, we're talking about your everyday person who sort of, well, first of all, they've got to pick up your book, right?
Yeah.
They have to buy your book. Buy the book. But what would they? How? I mean, that thought that you're sitting in your living room going, I got to make some changes here. How do you begin?
You have to begin with clarity of what you want.
Okay.
Our biggest fear is that we are going to look like a fool, or that whatever this big dream that we have is impossible. And so then we sit in the comfort of our couch and wonder why the world doesn't change. And we're afraid to state what it is we want. So you have to be really, really clear. When someone says, I want change, you've got to be clear on what change you want.
Mm.
And when you can actually state that, then you can start to understand, okay, so how do I have to change my way of thinking? How do I have to change my way of being? Who do I need to surround myself with? What's the energy I need to bring to my life every day to have this change? What do I need to let go of? But if you're not clear on what it is you want, then it's all going to feel muddled. You're not going to have any way to get clear direction and focus. So I think really getting clear is what I would say.
Yeah, getting very clear. And a lot of people don't take the time to do that very often. There's always something else that they'll either, oh, well, I'll do it later, or I'll think about it while I'm while I'm loading the dishwasher.
Right.
But I think sometimes it very much is sitting down and actually being very honest with yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to leave the book just for a moment because I want to talk to you a little bit more about T's for Humanity and your All Systems Grow company. Could you talk a little bit about each of those for us?
Sure. So All Systems Grow is my consulting practice. And I've had that company for almost 10 years. And we really focus on aligning a company's operational behaviors with the strategic objectives of the company. And we look deeply into process and efficiency and really getting companies from stuff to growth. So that's really a organization-focused company. And then Peace for Humanity is actually a company that my husband and I started together. And that actually came out of me writing the book. Because what was happening when I was writing the book is I came up with all these powerful sayings, like on the other side of struggle is the gift of strength. And so I said, oh, that should be on a shirt. And I kept saying, oh, that should be on a shirt. And then I said, oh, how do you make a shirt? And then I looked into creating a t-shirt company. And then, excuse me, and then others, my husband is a retired firefighter, and he said, oh, I'd love to do really cool shirts for firefighters. They love their shirts. And so it was just sort of birthed and born. And now we have this amazing company that is really focused on empowering and positive vibes. And we use really high quality materials and design. And it's all about making a positive mark in the world. And then we give a minimum of $5 per shirt back to the community.
Wow, that is great. That's $5 is a lot of money going back out there to a community.
It is.
It really is. That's a great chunk of change for most folks. I wanted to ask you how you, with all your businesses, so much coaching, what do you do to, what are your personal favorites that you do to bring sort of balance into your life?
Well, if you ask my family, they'd say there is no balance. But
yeah, you're so busy.
But what I do know is that I do have my ways. I meditate every morning. I literally have a very comfortable chair in my bathroom, and that every morning before I get started with my day, I take a minimum of 10 minutes to get very peaceful and intentional with my day. I do a ton of reading. I'm always looking for my own deeper understanding and personal growth, and that's very important to me. And I also spend time outside, walking consciously, I call it. It's my conscious walks, where I don't have a phone. I have no energy of anything around me except myself and the peace and miracle of the world around me. So those are probably my three key areas where I find my personal balance, even if it doesn't look like it from the outside.
But it's and these are all done before the family even wakes up, right?
Yes.
So because they don't see that. Normally they think you're just running around.
Well, but a lot of times they'll say, well, I can tell you didn't do your morning meditation today.
Yeah, that's not great when that comes back at you. So, I wanted to, I read something in your book that was quite interesting, and it said, what if you knew for certain that it didn't matter what came before? We carry so much baggage with us, don't we? When we're moving through life. And I mean, and I even know, friends or family members or people who always say, well, I've done this when I was young and this happened to me. And is it like an excuse for not moving forward? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's, I hate to use that word because I don't want it to hurt anyone's soul.
Right, of course.
The truth is that that our past is our past. It's done. Yes. And so when we hold it with us, it's the picture of the tightrope. When you're holding onto the tightrope, you can't actually open your hand to receive anything else. So when we hold on to the past so tightly, we're never open to receiving what's right in front of us. And so that past becomes so comfortable for us, so comfortable in the dysfunction that the present awareness or moving forward actually becomes uncomfortable.
Right.
And so as we can let it go, as we can allow and understand, like literally, if you want to take logic, it's done. It's back there. It can no longer hurt us unless we allow it to continue to hurt us. Mm-hmm. But then from that place, in that letting go, in that forgiving, in that loving yourself through that, from that place now you can start to create something new. So I think we're also always looking for the why. And sometimes there's no, my sister always says there's no peace in the why.
Right. That's exactly it. Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head there. And you are, and you have, you really, you have walked the talk, and you continue to walk the talk.
Thank you.
Because nothing in your book is something that you haven't already done. And you're a breast cancer survivor. You did your MBA while you were going through
Finishing
chemotherapy,
chemo.
and that and that's pretty incredible. And only somebody with determination and the ability to actually say, okay, I'm going through this, let's move forward. And I have to take my hat off to you, Julia, for that. Have you always lived in Florida?
I have. I was born and raised in Hialeah.
Yeah. And
a suburb in Miami.
So would you ever move from here?
Oh, yes. My son is 15. And so when he graduates from high school and gets settled into the college of his choice,
yes.
Chances are I'm heading north,
yes.
To a more simpler, peaceful life for me.
Yes. It's there's a lot of like swirling energy down here in Florida, isn't there?
There is, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and it has served me in this amazing way. I can see that next chapter so clearly, and it includes all of what I'm doing, but in a much simpler space for me.
Yes, I think that we do what we do until we don't need to do it anymore, and then we move on, right?
Yes, exactly.
Julia, I just want to take the time to say thank you so much for being on Yin Yoga Lifestyle. What a treat it has been. And if you would like to get some more information about Julia, you can visit her website at shedefined.com, SHEDEF as in father, IN as in Nancy, E and D as in Danny, .com. Or at TEES, TEESFORH as in happy, UM as in mother, ANITY.com, or and All Systems Grow, ALLSYSTEMSGROW.co. You can also go and visit her on Facebook at She Defined Inc., SHEDEFINEDINC, on Instagram at She Defined Inc., or on Twitter at Julia101. Julia, thanks again for being here on Yin Yoga Lifestyle.
Oh, thank you so much. It was an honor.
Thank you, Julia. And please don't forget to check us out at yinyogalifestyle.com, adding enlightenment, calm, and balance to your everyday life. Thank you for joining Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Join us next time to continue our journey of balancing into a state of perfect harmony. Until then, this is Colette Darville reminding you to inhale, sow, and exhale, hum.
The iPhone XR is here at T-Mobile, and there's a whole lot to love, like those perfect portrait mode selfies you're going to share.
Nice.
And how Memojis now turn every FaceTime with the kids into fun time. In fact, the only thing you'll love more than your iPhone XR is getting it included in the price when you get an unlimited plan. That's right, get both unlimited and iPhone XR included for just $40 a month. Sure, you can get unlimited somewhere else, but for the same price at T-Mobile, you get unlimited and iPhone XR. Join today and get iPhone XR included with your unlimited plan for just $40 a line for 4 new lines. Call 1-800-T-Mobile or visit a store today.
$30 for essentials plus $10 for iPhone XR with autopay and qualifying trade-ins via 36 bill credits. Customers may notice lower speeds and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs per month. Video at 480p for well-qualified buyers plus taxes and fees. Contact us before canceling or remaining balance is due. Qualifying service and finance agreements required. 0 down plus $20.84 per month for 36 months. Full price $749.99, 0% APR.
The iPhone XR is here at T-Mobile, and there's a whole lot to love, like those perfect portrait mode selfies you're going to share.
Nice.
And how Memojis now turn every FaceTime with the kids into fun time. In fact, the only thing you'll love more than your iPhone XR is getting it included in the price when you get an unlimited plan. That's right, get both unlimited and iPhone XR included for just $40 a month. Sure, you can get unlimited somewhere else, but for the same price at T-Mobile, you get unlimited and iPhone XR. Join today and get iPhone XR included with your unlimited plan for just $40 a line for 4 new lines. Call 1-800-T-Mobile or visit a store today.
$30 for Essentials plus $10 for iPhone XR with autopay and qualifying trade-ins via 36 bill credits. Customers may notice lower speeds and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs per month. Video at 480p for well-qualified buyers plus taxes and fees. Contact us before canceling or remaining balances due. Qualifying service and finance agreements required. 0 down plus $20.84 per month for 36 months. Full price $749.99, 0% APR. 0% APR. 0% APR.